Friends, come with me to explore the wonders of the constellation of Gemini, of spiritual flight. One needs to be on the earth in order to fly. You need to rest on earth. But at this particular time where I am, early summer, we long to use our wings and explore the future. Anoint your brow with water and ascend with me, retaining some physical consciousness. You rise into the beautiful sky of early evening over the land of Era, Inish Foil, land of destiny. Look down. You see two shining rivers. Both rivers join into one, and they reach the sea. Between them is an ancient grey castle. Very old, and still older is a ruined abbey by it. And most ancient of all is the well around which the castle was built. We look down. The castle from the ground is concealed by trees, but from our aerial height we can see its battlements and white radiations coming from an unseen source. This comes from the well of the goddess Brigid. Let us descend into this castle. Come with me. We sink right through to the basement of the castle, and we see some priestesses and priests and a large number of people, about 50, assembled in the temple of Isis, the Cronigor Castle of the Fellowship of Isis. The priestesses and priests wear white robes with blue stoles. The priestesses wear golden crowns, and the priests high gold headdresses. All those present are wearing white. The archpriest Lawrence Durden Robertson greets the company and speaks of the holy well.
You are welcome here. This holy well has been used for 2,000 years. It's dedicated to the goddess Brigid of the two-headed Danube. She is the goddess of healing and of wealth. I call upon the priestesses to draw water.
A priestess sweeps forward, goes on her knees and scoops into the well with a silver pitcher. She draws water. Another priestess holds forth a silver bowl and receives this water. She moves around the company, anointing each brow. We hear her gentle voice. May you receive spiritual vision. May you receive spiritual vision. May you receive spiritual vision. And people of all religions, Catholics who know how to bless themselves, Protestants, Hindus, Wiccans, whoever, accept this water of life. When this is finished, we notice that some of the priesthood are entering an adjoining chapel. This is the chapel of the moon and of the stars, chapel of Ishtar, which contains magical crystals. By this altar of Ishtar sits a priestess, robed in pure white, a moon crown of silver over it. The priest approaches her and offers incense to the goddess Artemis. Now, as he does this, we who are psychic see white light moving, as it were, from the well in the form of a silvery white sphere. This sphere joins with white light coming from above, and it is drawing behind the priestess. The goddess always comes from behind the moon goddess. And white light descends upon the priestess, and some may see the white form of Artemis. The priest invokes the goddess.
Most beautiful goddess of the silver moon, enlighten us with thy shining rays of splendor. We are immersed in dull dreams and are unable of ourselves to awaken into joy and glory and mystery. We live circumscribed by petty entanglements with our curtains drawn, and the door to our small room is locked by ourselves. May thy celestial light beam through our shuttered windows, and thy arrows penetrate our mind-limiting doors.
There is silence. Will the oracle be granted? Just listen to you. Suddenly, after some heavy breathing, we hear a voice. The oracle is being given. The loveliness of truth excels all beauty and penetrates heavy curtains of deliberate ignorance. The lost soul, wrapped in self-deceiving mirage, hears the onslaught of intuition, which, biding not the delaying tactics of the reason, shoots straight into the soul, bringing forth all-consuming transformation. So it is told that I transform a man into a stag. But total surrender is what I demand, not by law, not by word, nor by reason, but through the insistent command of perfect beauty. This surrender to my grace forms the alembic of transmutation, and from the brow of mortal man bringeth forth the mighty stag's antlers of light, which I bear myself, and which penetrates through all heavens. My light is the white light of truth, and it shineth forth from the brow. It pours forth from every shining atom of my body, forming a penumbra of many-colored splendor. Like a silver birch, it straightway shineth at my feet. For I am the goddess of manifested power, which bringeth to all creatures the concealed wisdom of the veiled Sophia. For long years hath the power of the white goddess been concealed, and my veiled votaries prayed on their knees, wearing nuns' robes. For those thousands of years the God, my divine brother, prevailed, that the sun rays of intellect should teach men to reason and to act with forethought. So do the rays of Phoebus Apollo bring you your sciences and your cherished logic. But the time now comes in the cosmic cycle when direct knowledge comes to you not through the God, but through the goddess. Mystical comprehension is instantaneous, is beyond time and space, and yet includes all time and space. Many dread my manifestation, which they say can bring madness or death. And this may be so for the unprepared. But when your mind and your heart yearn with inexplicable longing for some forgotten beauty, when earthly pleasures and tasks no longer hold your concentration, when you would even lose your reason and die rather than forego your search for me, now then you are ready. My beam of light will be your pathway, and my silver arrows shall make clear your mind and heart. You will feel my power like a waterfall pour through you, enlightening your mind and making joyful your heart. Heavenly music and dance and song will accompany you, and you will find yourself radiating my power to all those whose lives touch yours. There is a silence. All fold their hands in thanksgiving to the goddess. The priestess is left alone to recover from trance, given a glass of well water. But we see there is to be a procession outside the temple of Isis. The procession, led by the priesthood, makes its way past the 9 columns of the temple of Isis. Imagine yourself joining now this procession. Follow them. Follow them into the golden evening of early summer of Gemini. You leave a portico and enter a most beautiful garden filled with roses. You can smell the scent of these roses. And you hear the laughter of 2 children, a little girl and a boy, who are blessed with the water of the goddess. These very small children, one of 2 and one of 3, were blessed as the Gemini twins, the new era, and they're joined by their companions who are holding little bouquets of flowers. There are about 6 children with us, and the small baby of about 18 months in her mother's arms. Now the garden is crossed, and we enter most mysterious darkness in this golden summer, a long, dark walk. Follow this procession, some holding incense, some vessels of water from the well, down this very long yew walk with a light at the end, a golden green light. Come with them. Down you go, feeling at peace, and that you are entering another sphere of being. At the end is a beech tree in the quarter of the east, and the company swirl now to the left, path of the moon, and they move past a beautiful belvedere with columns dedicated to Flora. Beautiful view, belvedere. And now we are moving to the ancient ruined abbey, which is luxuriant with roses and every sort of flower. Fuchsia, it's beautiful, daisies, everything. It is lovely. And we enter this ancient abbey from the west, and we proceed right through to the chancel, this great window against the sky. And we are delighted to see a rambling rose going all the way up, a wild pink rose. We remember the order of the rose of love. At the end is a stone dolmen. On it there are 2 lamps, a silver bowl of water, which is rainwater, and burning incense, and a star map of Gemini. The first priest addresses the company.
Companions on the quest for intuition and clear mind, know that the constellation of the Dioscuri, the twins, is depicted in the Dendera zodiac of ancient Egypt as the lion god Shu, bringer of flowing waters, and his twin, the lion goddess Tethnos, lady of heaven. They are shown facing each other, holding hands. These divine twins were born of the goddess Nebhet-Hotep, great in magic, wife to the god Atum of primeval waters. The line pair in their turn, brought forth the goddess Nut of the starry sky, and the god Geb of the earth. Isis and Osiris, sister and brother, were born of these, and the rest of the great Ennead of Heliopolis, which includes Shu and Tefnut, Isis and Osiris, Ra, Geb, Nephthys, Horus, and Hathor. The virtuous are revived through Tefnut. I have brought to him the goddess Tefnut, and he liveth. The soul which dwelleth in Tefnut abideth in bliss in her realm beyond death. Thus to the Egyptians Gemini was the house of life here and in the next world, and it was also the sphere of twin souls.
I offer this incense to the lion goddess Tefnut, divine lady who upholdeth the heavens, woman and lion, bringer of pure streams, refreshest with thy healing waters, and bestowing thy strength. Thou who dost sit on the judgment seat of the dead, grantest true speech. Hail, thy divine parents, Nebhet-hotep and Atum, who cometh forth from the great deep, and who shineth with glory through your offspring, the double lion. Send out with might your words unto those who are in your presence. May truth and judgment speak with an equal voice.
Here the priestess blesses each child with water from the dolmen altar, which is rainwater and well water. And her mother says, the mother, both of them says, may love, beauty and truth be with my children, both of them, girl and boy, now and evermore. In the name of Dana. She's Irish, she calls on Dana. Now the archpriest stands forth and he offers incense.
I offer incense to thee, the Lord God Shu, twin of Tefnut. Thou hast divided the sky from the earth, and all living creatures may dwell upon thee, upon the earth, and bring forth their kind, both male and female. The double divine throne which dwelleth in the divine twin God, and goddess, is the soul which dwelleth in Shu and in Tefnut. And this is the double divine soul which dwelleth in Tatu. Bring our souls to their land of overflowing streams and head-high wheat.
The Greeks recognized their moon goddess Artemis as the Egyptian goddess Tefnut. Artemis is twin to the god Phoebus, Apollo, divine offspring of Olympian Zeus and lovely Leto.
Now another priestess speaks. I offer incense to thee, the goddess Artemis, Muse, king of Artemis, sister of the archer, the virgin who delighteth in silver arrows, who was fostered with Apollo. She doth water her horses from meadows deep in reeds, and swiftly driveth her all golden chariot to Smyrna to vine-clad Clara, where Apollo, god of the silver bowl, sits waiting for the goddess. And so hail to thee, Artemis, who goeth to the great house with thy dear brother, to the rich land of Delphi, there to order the lovely dance of the muses and the graces. There thou dost hang thy curved bow and arrow, and dost head the dances, gracefully arrayed, while all they utter their heavenly voices, singing of how neat-angled Leto bore children supreme among the immortals, both in thought and deed. Hail to you, children of Zeus, and rich-haired Leto. May we receive with ecstasy thy bright silver arrows, divine Artemis, for these are the shafts of truth. Another priest steps forward and offers incense.
I offer incense to thee, O Lord Apollo, god of the silver bow, shooting afar, walking on craggy Olympus. Many are thy temples and wooded groves, and all peaks and towering crags of lofty mountains and rivers are dear to thee, Phoebus. How then shall I sing of thee, who are in all ways a worthy theme of song? For the whole range of song is fallen to thee, both over the mainland that rears heifers and over the isles. Divine Apollo, grant us thy gifts of prophecy and healing, but teach us to use thy bright arrows of power with wisdom and gentleness. We shall dance in honor of the unshorn god and Artemis, and in honor of Leto, uttering a tuneful sound. Their praise will be furnished forth by women, and evermore by men.
It is now the most beautiful part of the ceremony. We hear reference to the chaplets of flowers. The children come forward with garlands, and they place it on each other's heads. They offer each other garlands, and some of them bring bouquets of flowers and place it upon the dolmen altar. They are received by the priestesses and placed all around this lovely temple. Now comes the dance that is referred to. All do the dances of the blessed souls. Imagine yourself now uniting sun and moon, the god Apollo of the mind, and the goddess Artemis of the intuition, and dance blending these two. The men hold their arms up in archways, and the women twine their way through. Do this. If you're a man, hold your arms up to form an archway. If you are a woman, make the serpent dance through the archway. Dance, movement stirs the psychic powers within your body, the golden powers, Pingala Idas, called by the Hindus. It doesn't matter what you call them, sun power, moon power, let them blend within you. You will begin to feel a psychic power as you even dance in imagination or even move your hands. You begin to feel this silvery power descend upon your head with Artemis and glow in your heart, which is the sun, and your solar plexus. Beautiful rhythm. Dance has slowed down. Now all the company are seated, and they are going to chant the sacred name of Leto, Divine Mother that represents outer space, all-pervading space, who gave birth to the sun and the moon. So we chant Leto. true sun and moon in perfect harmony through all creation, for of the matrix leap space. If your mind be at war with your feelings, how can you be happy? If your spirit wars against your flesh, how can you be happy? One cannot conquer the other. Your feelings cannot be conquered by the mind. The mind may not be conquered by the feelings. But both can be in harmony through dear things. That which is greater comprehends the less. Duality is resolved in wholeness. We have the chosen chief of the order of bards, ovates and druids here, with groves, mother and scribe. And they are also in harmony, members of the fellowship, but they're people representing other orders. They're Ben Brady, chief of the most ancient of all orders, the megalithic. We have those of Indian following, Wiccan, spiritualists and Catholics through Maria and Jesus Emmanuel. Again, you get the sun and the moon here. All are in harmony in meditation. For in meditation there is no discussion, disputation, argument. Feel this. For you are now in harmony with them. In unity there is strength. But unless you're united inside yourself, you're not going to get on very well with anyone else, are you? I'm thinking that to myself. You can't shut away bits of yourself in a dungeon and live at the top story. Stand. Behold. All conflict is resolved through comprehension, not through exorcism. You have one body. You can't cut yourself in bits. Good. It's happening. You feel this. You are in harmony. friends, they are seated in meditation at the time of Gemini in the ancient abbey at Colligall Castle, and we have attained inner harmony through reconciliation of the opposites, sun and moon, Artemis and Phoebus Apollo. The archpriest now speaks as we all stand.
Let us meditate upon the teaching of twin souls as propounded by Plato.
This speaks of people's feelings much more than bothering about love and truth. Twin souls, people like that.
The constellation of Gemini is source of the miraculous St. Helen's light. The twins preside over the afterlife. The committed on earth are judged by one who passeth sentence stern and inevitable, while the good, having the sun shining forevermore, live in the presence of the honoured deities. All these were wont to rejoice, keeping their oath and share a life that knoweth no tears. Whosoever, dwelling in either world, this or the next, have thrice been courageous in keeping their souls pure from all deeds of wrong, dwell in the isles of the blessed. There the ocean breezes blow, and flowers of gold shine bright on the shore, growing on radiant trees, and others float on the waters, and the blessed souls entwine their hands to make chaplets of flowers. They are blessed according to judgment of the mighty Father Zeus, son of the goddess Rhea, whose throne is exalted beyond all others.
The soul progresseth through future ages. After death all receive their due reward, some in the realms of Shu and of Tethys, and others in Elysium, domain of Apollo and Artemis, and the Muses and Graces. There dwell the spirits of the just, who are purified and free from all taint of evil. The sun shineth in strength, while on earth is night, and in meadows red with roses, the space before their city is shaded by the incense tree, laden with golden fruit. Know that while the body of all men is subject to overmastering death, an image of life remaineth alive. For the body alone is subject to overmastering death. An image of life remaineth alive, and it alone cometh from the deity. But it sleepeth while the limbs are active. Yet in many a dream it giveth presage of a decision of things delightful or doleful. Blessed are they who know of these things before they goeth beneath the hollow earth, for they understand the end of life and the beginning of new life bestowed by deity.
Let us balance the forces of Gemini, that harmony may come to our souls.
I salute the guardians of the binary star Castor, once known to the Greeks as Apollo, Artemis, star of forces. Bring us strength and swift thought.
I salute the guardians of the star Pollux, orange star of Artemis and Posnus. May this lunar star bring us tranquility.
I salute the white star Almethan, the proud walker. Let us lift up our heads, sure of our goal.
I salute the guardians of Vesta, the double star, that hath in its train of Geminid meteors. Let us with humility appreciate the manifold gifts of others.
I salute the guardians of the double star Mebsuta, the outstretched paw of the lion's shoes. May we grasp that which should be taken.
I salute the guardian of the star Mephibosheth, the contracted paw of the lion goddess Sekhmet. May we in our strength have compassion for the weak.
I salute the guardians of purpose, the binary star which marks the turn of the year at the summer solstice. The forward foot, may we courageously press forward.
I salute the guardians of New Hake, the double star, yellow and blue, which is the backward wheel. Gives us the wisdom of knowing when to retreat.
Understanding is brought into being through the union of qualities, seeing the other as oneself. So is Gemini ruled by Mercury of the two intertwined snakes. The outer mind that thinks and divides into quantities is given by the god. The lightning arrow of intuition is sent forth by the goddess. Let us receive inspiration with serene minds.
Now comes a lovely part of the ceremony when water, which is rather badly needed, this is a rather droughtish year, is poured over the plants, the lovely various bushes around. The first priestess says, hold her hands over pitchers of water.
May this water be blessed by Artemis with the silver arrows of light.
Now the priestess and a companion pour water over the plants round the dome, and then they hand the pitcher around to the children, who enthusiastically do that and nearly use up all the water as they're sprinkling it around. I notice they go for very small plants. Now the priesthood take the pitcher, and they too go to the far end where the fuchsia is, the very far end, and pour water. Imagine yourself doing that, replenish the earth with life-giving water, serene emotion. We must have that lest we be burnt up by the sun. Now, after this, all are seated, and the first priest addresses all.
With still minds and inner grace, let us hearken to the words of Socrates, the noble philosopher, who spoke thus to his friends while awaiting execution by poison in prison. Those who have been preeminent for holiness of life are released from this earthly prison and go to their home, which is above, and dwell in a purer earth. And of these, such as have duly purified themselves with philosophy live henceforth altogether without the body, in mansions fairer still, which may not be described, and of which the time would fail me to tell. Wherefore, what ought we to do that we may obtain virtue and wisdom in this life? Fair is the prize, and the hope is great.
What is life without love? Be it ever so philosophical, rejoice in the words of Aristophanes, who praises love, as recounted by his friend Plato. Humanity, through its sins, was divided into two halves who endlessly seek each other. When a soul meets with its other self, its other half, the pair are lost in an amazement of love and friendship, and one will not be out of the other's sight, not even for a moment. These are the people who pass their whole lives together, yet they could not explain what they desire of one another. For the intense yearning which each has towards the other does not appear to be the desire of lovers' intercourse, but of something else which the soul of either evidently desires, yet only has a dark and doubtful presentiment. And the reason is that the human nature was originally one, and we were whole. And the desire and pursuit of the whole is called love. There was a time, I say, when we were one, but because of the wickedness of mankind, there he hath dispersed us. Wherefore, let us exhort all men to piety, that we may avoid evil and obtain the good, of which love is the ruler and minister. And let no one oppose love. He who opposes love is the enemy of deity. For if we are friends of Eros and his mother Venus, we are at peace with these deities. So shall we find our own true love, which rarely happens at present. If our loves were perfectly accomplished, and each one were returned to his primeval nature, and were to find his original true love, then our race would be happy. Let us weave the radiations of Gemini, soul and body, lover and beloved, into blissful harmony with stately measure.
Now comes the dance of perfected souls. This is a different dance from the other, for it is in pairs, more in modern dancing. But here it is different, for people start with one pair, man and woman, and then begin to change and weave and meet others. They form a long weaving line, rather like ancient country dancing, moving from person to person. Now those who are psychic begin to see these radiations moving all round the company, and those who are most perfectly at peace with twin souls dance with others, not arousing envy through their perfect happiness, but dancing with the lonely ones, and the children jump around with each other, join in. This is the dance of the perfect love, which is beyond passion. Agape, divine love, which includes truth, it is wisdom. The children dance now in a little circle in the middle. One places a stone, a white stone for some reason, I don't know why, in the centre. And they dance round. The adults all dance round. Everyone does their own step. Not choreographed, it's natural. And yet there seems to be a natural movement out of the ancient abbey, quite unself-consciously, for two people from Trolleygall are gazing at this and move into the castle grounds. They move now outside and in the abbey, forming a spiral dance. Join them, come out the abbey, look at the grounds, the Belvedere, look up at the sky, beautiful golden evening star. How long the shadows are from Florence Court View. There's a huge cedar casting its shadow eastward, the sun is in the west. See these long shadows. Dark and light are both beautiful. Golden grass, long deep shadows, dark. The children, for some reason, are making for the Belvedere. Some of them are bringing their posies with them. I know, they love dancing round and round it because it's very small. There's water, a centrepiece of granite, and they put their flowers in this, and they all hold hands and dance in a circle round this Belvedere, which is in the east. It's the new age, rising sun. The adults decide to follow them. They all circulate round. I wonder where they're going to go. Now they feel they'd like to go back. So more slowly, skipping and dancing, some of them even chattering. They move back, and now they're followed by a huge golden Labrador bow, and a mixed one, bounded. They stood up in bushes. They always come for some reason to rituals. We don't usually have a dog, but he likes the children. They move back now into the abbey and circulate the dolmen. Finally, they return, and everyone now rather likes to sit down, and the priestess addresses the companions, unwilling so much of Gemini.
Companions, let us meditate upon the constellations of Gemini. Castor and Pollux are in verity far from each other, yet the constellation holds many twins. Gemini, guide of mariners, rises high above the sea of heaven. Far above Auriga the charioteer drives the great wain about the pole star. The twins shine among many animals, the lynx, the unicorn, the lesser dog. Gemini rises beyond the reach of the creatures of the abbey, Hydra and Cetus. It is the constellation of mind and spirit, which through hermetic alchemy unites the realms of this life and the next, and draws together twin souls.
At this point, the company are to draw together Artemis and Apollo by chanting. The archpriest calls them to do so.
Let us prepare to show and to test it, to Artemis and to Apollo.
Therefore, in thanks, we draw the deities together by intoning the names Artemis and Phoebus. Company contemplate twin souls, Artemis and Phoebus, Jove and Tesla, you and your beloved. Let us commune with our own twin souls. Have known each other for millennia. Atlantis, Egypt, China, India, England, and America. In far distant times, the soul knows the mind, the brain, together. We must drink the waters of Lethe, or we would never be content here on earth, and we must learn that sometimes, in the constellation of Gemini, we grow our wings and find our twin souls not so much of a part, but for our glorious future in the stars. Feel this. Do you know your twin? But the company looks so serene. You suddenly feel a warm glow in your heart, and though you cannot see your twin self, you feel you have drawn him or her to you now. Hope is with you. Whether your beloved is through the veil that separates those on this plane and those who pass into the other sphere. Love unites all, for it is throughout all spheres the rambling road that is through all planets and stars, and yet is one. And we look at a rose petal that's fallen upon the ground. We look at the young children and the older people. We are all drawn in love. Finding your twin soul does not separate you from others. It's truly fine. It unites you in harmony with all others. And you help other people to find their love. The parents produce children, and so spiritual lovers find they have a spiritual family, those who teach them more advanced than they are, and those who are entrusted to their care. The cure of souls is the deepest form of parenthood. Twin souls who live in selfish isolation soon lose happiness. For even their love needs to be fed from divine source, from inspiration. This is the message of the stars coming through to planets. Like a light above your head, to rule the earth, to rule you. Perfect happiness in love brings you eternal reality, not yesterday or tomorrow, but now. Feel this. Even as you experience this perfect happiness, perhaps my reference to time makes you feel that the company are looking rather blurry. Even their bright aura seems dim, as if you belong somewhere else. Yet, for a moment you were with them, and this lovely ceremony, with the roses, the birds singing evening, with the trees, with the water. You begin to rise above the castle and the river, knowing that you may return at any time. Now, you've been given the key. The key is the road. And you look down, and now you understand about the two rivers meeting each other and flowing to the sea. They need to join, and then to join the rest of the cosmos, the great sea. you've had some glimpse of your immortal beloved. Beethoven wrote of the immortal beloved. It's new. Wide eyes of sky. Element of air. As you return to your own time and place, send forth radiation of love and harmony to all beings, a blessing so that your own place is surrounded by this rainbow orb. Slowly now, come back to your own body. I'll make a sound to bring you back. Sit. Don't rush out into traffic for about half an hour and drink a glass of water. Those helping to recreate our ceremony are Philip Cargon, chosen chief, and Stephanie Cargon, scribe and grove mother of the order of bards, ogres, and druids, and my brother Longstead and Robson and I, also the Fellowship of Isis, Polygore Castle, Ennis Causeville, South Ireland. You can write to any of us, we'll forward letters to the druids. And you might like to know some sources. The Book of the Dead by Bards, Rockwood and Keegan Paul, Goddesses of China, Syria and Egypt by my brother, special publications. I love Hesiod, translated Evil and Right, and the Odes of Pindar, translated Sanders, both published by Heinemann Harvard. Oh, and of course you must get the 5 great dialogues, Plato, translated by the famous judge, Walter Black, New York. People are always talking rather wildly about twin souls. They never read Plato's original account and note it was given by that wit, Aristophanes. Brilliant man. May the blessing of the moon goddess, Artemis, of intuition, and of Phoebus Apollo, god of spirit and mind, be with you in mind and heart, now and forever.